Alrighty, so I would like to welcome to the stage Grace Najjar, the CEO of Align, to have a fireside chat with her on project efficiencies in mega projects, the theme of today. Good to have you, Grace.
It's a pleasure, it's really mine. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Absolutely.
It's an honor.
Thanks so much for coming over.
Thank you.
Yeah, Grace and I, we met in PMI conferences. I left PMI back in the days when I started.
PMI loves you.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's a compliment. I didn't know
Sure,
that.
sure. You're advocating for the profession. I think we learn from industry, more from associations.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I remember those days, again, back in 2004, when I started my first PMP preparation. A lot of people, they tell you, well, you have to have some credentials from the market in order to have better opportunities in the marketplace. And back then I started my PMP preparation, and a few years later, I was teaching the PMP preparation courses as well.
I was right.
Yeah. So maybe the first thing is, I want to ask you, what you do, Grace, in the market? PMI, managing director, now you're running your business in consulting, but you still come from deep background in mega projects. And mashallah, you've worked across different case studies around the world. So we want to know, who is Grace?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's my true pleasure. And hi everyone. I'm an IT engineer, so I think when you're in the technology sector, I think that the sky is the limit. I'm not being biased, but I have lots of credits for being graduated from Beirut, from Faculty of Engineering in 1995, so you can do the count. I'm 30 years of experience in the market. I started in consulting and project and program management. I was a hands-on expert, and I was lucky to work the first decade on technology. It was at the time, 1995 till 2003, it was the real hype of what technology can do to shape the education. So I'm a professor, I've always been teaching and liking education sector. So I worked most of the first career as a program manager when there has been a funded project by the World Bank for the Ministry of Education. The focus was on vocational and technical education. So I started heavily my consulting career then on the public sector, and then I was attracted by Microsoft and others just to lead into the private sector. And then my path crossed with PMI in 2004. And then when I was a founding member, I think I met also Omar, another Oracle colleague, in one of the events in Lebanon, and this is where project management became at the heart as a practitioner. And I actually led a program for digital transformation for a bank, contracted by their arm. It was an Oracle solution where I really lived the complexity of the business and IT together in order to manage the value and to the transformation of digital banking at the time. So I really lived it, the good and the ugly of it, and I really learned how to translate business, business aspects and objectives, and let the technology, apply it. So it was this struggle, and I don't know whether you agree with me, or they're still there. And my path to the mega project started when I just went on my own. I founded my company 2010, and as much as I'm excited about technology, I've really realized like a requirement has to be there. And the pure consulting taught me that you need to make sure that stakeholders are aligned, because I was the consultant for World Bank, EU-funded project, and so on. So I felt like the consulting role and program management is more about understanding the strategy objectives behind the solution.
That's right.
So unless you do that translation and make sure the solution is here to, it's result-driven, it's purpose-driven. That's why I called my company Align, because as much as I'm a fan of technology, and you guys attract me as well with most of your solutions, but at the same time, I felt there's a big gap, like you drive a Ferrari, but on a small, streets. We call them in Lebanon Zuari. So it's like, you can't see the potential, you can't unlock it. So I believe, and we're going to go there with our discussion, that I'm excited about the true alignment, about understanding technology, its complexity, where it fits, what doesn't fit, and let the people drive, believes in the human capital, and drive value to the strategy. I think this is the next that excites me, and that's what take me to PMI. I was contracted by them 6 years to drive their penetration to the market. I've led the strategic partnership with big organizations like yours. I know that there is a partnership with Oracle on the construction modules for PMI. So I took the discussion from a PMP to executing, to delivering benefits.
Yes.
So I think that's the next generation of project management, which we're gonna tackle on shortly. And then I led BMI, business and work for the past 4 years with a threefold the impact and revenue. And I had to go back, although I was an executive, really enjoying working with chapter community. There is an angle about PMI, which is the connectivity and changing people's lives through project education. But definitely the market is very exciting when it comes to back to the hands-on. So now I'm focusing on running my company with affiliates like yours, with working with consultants or direct clients on driving technology, solutions by the concept and spirit of alignment with focus on human capital, developing, people and skilling.
Amazing.
So that's it.
And as you work closely with, again, with the mega projects, because
Yes.
this has been the topic of today's
Yes.
conversation,
Yes.
you must be coming with challenges. And
Yes,
these
of course.
challenges come from people, they come from process, even though you guys don't acknowledge this a lot, but we find out halfway through, probably at the beginning, or maybe towards the end, that there are challenges in tweaking the processes to be digital ready. And also there are challenges related to building the capacity as well. So overall, what is that challenge that you see the most impacting project efficiency?
Yeah, and mega project. Thanks for the question. Start by tackling this. Let's look at the MENA region, which I feel really lucky. When I was in Saudi Arabia last week, I heard from one of the industry players that we are really lucky. So I have a base in Europe, but when I go there, although there has been some momentum there, but we're really lucky with the investments that the government is really investing in. So we are a true hub for what it takes to be a mega project. So you've seen the investment from pyramid to future, museum, and to the pyramid and to the Grand Museum in Egypt and so on. So however, despite all of these investments that are transforming the landscape, that are really redefining what's possible, what's not possible, the challenges are really significant. So if you look at the industry itself, the construction, over the past 2 decades, only 1% increase in the productivity. If you look at the figures, like as per Bechtel, 98% of all projects above 1 billion face cost overrun. And almost similar number as per CII face like a project who failed to meet one or more objectives. Even PMI, when they surveyed 40,000 of their PMPs, they found out that 73% of the project face cost overrun, and similar number with schedule overrun. So the oldest industry in the world, despite the iconic building and the wonderful roads we have everywhere, and the project managers and the certified people, it's not performing well. You see, and even PwC with their capital project and infrastructure survey, so there is a number which is 43% consider like there is a disconnect, there is a true obstacle by implementing strategic conversion. So the project delivery is not delivering. So the problem, the first challenge is there is an improper execution plan. We have plans, but they are not executable. Yeah. So they lead to scope creep, to poor quality, to unsafe risk, and to risky project. So and most of them, they rely on traditional KPI, looking backwards, like the cost variance, schedule variance, satisfaction rate. So and as per one of your C-level at Oracle, if you want to move forward, you can't keep on looking backward. So we need to implement some data strategies, predictive analysis, whereby I can get a sign like there is a bottleneck coming with these resources and I have to reallocate it. So there's an issue that really is going to come in, and then I need to readjust my plan. So we need to be preventive in the way we deal with schedule, cost, and so on. So that's a true problem with moving into much more reliable. So there has been a waterfall approach, which is typical for construction, but with the amount of unknown that we face. So look at the complexity of the project with the mega landscape. You have multiple diverse stakeholders, you have very demanding owner, the supply chain is really complex. How can one team only lead the planning? And they only do that, they not only lead the planning, they lead the entire life cycle. So we can no longer rely on one plan and then call it executable plan, and then we face problems later on.
I love that perspective.
There has to be early involvement at the very early beginning, and that's what we call agile construction. Because we really need to be flexible when it comes to plan. And that's why we bring in early on the multidisciplinary team. And that's what's the success of Burj Khalifa. So not only they involve designer, operational, maintenance team, and so on, they involved early on their suppliers or their vendor. So we don't get bottleneck at the transmission. And again, when I was with consultants in Saudi Arabia, they said, we have a bottleneck with the commissioning. Take only the transitioning and commissioning. The risks are really high because this is where the data, this is where the insights comes in. And that's why we need an integrated delivery platforms whereby we can see early on, we can get much more visibility even at what's going to happen with the transition commission, and even further the operation. And I've also met the Yamar team who built the Burj Khalifa. They said, when we built, the time we were building Dubai Mall or Burj Khalifa, we were thinking how much gonna cost us. It was built 9 years, Burj Khalifa, to live for eternity, right? And we were thinking at the time we were choosing from the electricity to the HVAC system to every single detail, you name it, how much is gonna cost us operation-wise in terms of energy efficiency, commodities and so on.
I love what you're saying because the room is filled up with the project owners here. So hear that, guys. Involve the suppliers, involve the contractors in putting the plan for your project delivery. It never harms, and it really adds a lot of value. And Burj Khalifa probably one of the best case studies in the world in the way of fostering collaboration between the different stakeholders. So you must be believing in collaboration and bringing all these ties together for the project delivery. Because again, the common word you hear about collaboration, again, daily reports, meeting, minutes, artifact, but it's really beyond. Because collaboration, to your point, is bringing all these data sets from different interdepartmental teams together.
Yeah, exactly. And even the data with the applications that you guys are implementing. That's why I think clients tend to go to one single provider. That's which chance for you. Even with the application we struggle to integrate between multiple applications together and the data. So there might be one team getting access to one single data set, whereas the other team haven't viewed it yet. And at that time, we build the plan or any single output that might inform or drive the next phase. The other team might not be aware, and then when they are at the later stage, we have teams who have a problem or it's not compliant or they are not aligned. So that's why we also need integration at the level of software and application and data. So that's why we're talking about integrated collaboration platforms, so everybody has access, even devices that we plug in the plants or in the sites. So stakeholders, devices, and people have to have access to one integrated platform, which kind of foster the effective collaboration.
Right. Which we started actually adapting. If you've noticed before the break, we cannot acquire every single company, nor any of the available software vendors do, right? But what we embraced in this part of the world, specifically over the last 3-4 years, is we pursue partnerships with consulting companies, with what I like, Sean, he said, companion products and technologies as well. But when we do it right, because the old approach was, okay, I got the best in class Autodesk, Oracle, Bentley, blah, blah, blah. Now what? System integrator charging us millions of dollars to bring all these together in one place. So we're doing this for you, and we're seeing a lot of traction that we're gaining, especially in UAE and Saudi Arabia, from that new concept of bringing an ecosystem together.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the clients, I want to give really credit to the clients and to the government leaders. They are really challenging us. When I was at PSPMI, I was challenged by a very big, firm in the region, which told me, with all my respect, I have all of the credentials with PMI, but if you are certified, I have one project manager with credibility, with his own, set of skill set. Is it enough for me to allocate $1 trillion project or $1 billion project? So that's why I think we are now big believer, the market now is big believer into the integration of all of the knowledge together, including data, the value that the AI-powered, industries is transforming.
Yeah.
So I think that even when it comes to governance, so when I also deal with clients, with government leaders, they're more into getting in place a project program governance. So again, not saying it should be called PMO, but projects, especially mega projects, we see them beyond what we are delivering. They need to be tied to the strategic goals. So we're talking about project governance, which drives strategic alignment and benefit realization. So with a mega project, we're no longer seeing roads that deliver it on time with budget. We're touching on the economical growth, on the sustainability. So when I was in Saudi Arabia, I was delivering a training, even consultants, that they recognize the fact that benefit realization has to be really reinforced more at the heart of these alignments.
Yes.
So the net benefit, what's worth, and some statistics show that roads, wonderful roads, they add 30 to 50% traffic, congestion and so on. No one wants ghost town or empty residential or unutilized or unoptimized power plants. So I think it's in our role, industry players with consultants, to try to serve the objectives of those government leaders who are really mature and they really need governance along the way. That's why data-driven decisions. So when I make sure every single item is really helping towards the journey of achieving the net benefit, which is the value, okay? And it has to be worth. So the equation, again, the famous equation, value equal benefit minus cost. So the ROI comes into play, especially with technology, right? So what's worth the investment?
I want to attend one of these courses with you, Grace.
Yes,
I'm
you're my
learning
guest. You're my VIP guest.
Thank you. For free?
Yeah, for sure, of course.
So one of the things that you do as well, Grace, is you're helping organizations in building capacity.
Yeah.
And probably that term is overused sometimes, building capacity. Are you coming to teach me how to use my processes? Don't you say that, right? Some of you are making relevance to that statement. However, it's one of the big things that are probably spreading now across the mega project scene. Can you tell me a little bit on how you combine this with setting the project governance as well?
Yeah, as I mentioned, with the maturity realized in this region, as government and leaders are striving for ambitious goals, they realize that the human capital is at the heart of this transformation. Despite all of the beliefs in the technology, the human capital is important. And we all feel the shortage in talent and the war for talent, and it's really disrupting. So we have lots of graduated people and the workforce is there, but is it ready or not to meet the talent gaps? So we still face this labor shortage from one side, and it goes a lot to whether the education is really resonating and reflecting the market needs and all of the challenges of every single organization. It's another investment. So that's why I believe that there is even a revolution when it comes to educating project managers. So project management are no longer, administrative, especially with the AI, powered AI. So most of what they do, 80% as per Gartner, it could be, done by the AI. So they have the power, they have an AI arm. So I think we need to elevate their involvement into strategic leaders. We're making sure the governance is happening, every decision is happening, where everybody, all the data set is in. So there are all this creativity in influencing innovative behavior and the trace of the culture where there's a freedom, there is a risk-taking mentality, there is an accountability and diversity of perspectives. So we're really taking project managers, and one of the big gaps, if they are really bound, if they are really grounded into only scope and sheets, and that's why we need to let them sit in a strategic office or take it to the portfolio program level or get closer to the industry leaders, so that we really innovate that mentality and make sure that they are leading benefit organizations, they are owner and bringing all of the ownership. So this leadership the conflicts, because there are always going to be conflicts. Who lead? Is it the business? Is it technology? Is it the government? So where the vision, where the benefits KPI are? They want to make sure there is agility and flexibility. At the same time, there is a structured oversight on how to track and maintain the benefit and real time. And my time be iterative. There is no one benefit realization that can happen at one phase. So think of the skill set of a project manager. It's a really big responsibility, and goes to education. So every time I'm asked to train, it's really it's something that hits my heart. I have to invest in the time, because nobody is expecting only knowledge or principles. Even the standards are really moving into much more practical, case studies. So I make sure that when there's an education that needs to happen, we have to integrate the industry in it, understanding the industry, the governance, the business, the strategy, at the same time while we're elevating the project management knowledge. So it's a whole integrated skill set. There is no one discipline. The trend is that when we equip and elevate project management skills in a mega project, we're looking into strategic leader, into influencer, into change maker. So look at the how customized should be the training, and it should be more of a learning and adoption. Microsoft at the time called it learning and adoption, and I'm sure you do the same. So it should be real. You're part of it.
Well, we are our partners, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys know that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I mentioned them.
Microsoft Azure now, if you're hosting any applications in there, but you want to use the Oracle Autonomous Database, we have built a partnership integration between our data centers and theirs, by the way. So they are a partner. Sorry, Microsoft. So you used the word of innovate 7 times, Grace.
Yeah.
And there must be something related to innovating efficiencies in mega projects.
Yeah.
But if I am sitting here today and I'm seeing everything that's happening today, if I want to take away some of the recommendations in mega projects, how can we innovate the project efficiencies?
Yeah, you can start with the basics, to be honest. I'm not saying that we need to innovate and then the basics are no longer valid. So definitely there has to be maturity when it comes to the knowledge on what project success means and linking it to the success. Obviously, I'm a big believer, and I'm sure that organizations are no longer taking any project without having the right maturity. There has to be an interconnected maturity between project management program and portfolio and benefit realization management at the heart. So every project has to deliver strategic goals, and we need measurable benefits, even if they are intangible, even we're talking about branding or reputation. So those are really at the heart. Do not isolate any discipline. We need to bring in together the project program and portfolio and the framework, which in a structured way. At the same time, the upskilling. So again, those come from the top. So there has to be a culture of innovation when it comes to methodologies, like WBS in most of the construction project is being replaced by AWP, so advanced work packaging, where we not only look at the what, but at the who and the how. So move into something executable plan, move into outcomes and actions. So that's why there are some methods like commitment-based management, where we need to focus more on a framework where there has been a conversation, but we need to move into outcomes and action. And there could be simple methods, like Obeya method is just a simple method where we invite engineering, operation leaders, procurement, and we get them to brainstorm with their transparency. So not saying it has to be rocket science or a nuclear solution, but we just need an atmosphere in an organization which gives much more investment on an effective communication and collaboration and leveraging technology. So we need organizations which really believe in the integrated and in getting interdisciplinary and making sure that the cross-functional teamwork succeed. And it's not easy, easily said.
Not easy.
So usually people like to speak with people of their same background to do testing, or designers, or architect, or commissioner, or that's a vendor, or that's a supplier. I think we need some encouragement and ways and platforms and mechanisms, and there are tools actually, I'm sure you have. There are tools which are the integrated project delivery, IDP, where we really move from the beginning, we start from design to planning to execution, involving all of the stakeholders together, and believing in the people, again, nothing happens without people. Even with the right choice of technology, we need to make sure we understand deeply. People, Bain and Co. They reported a very interesting, report which I invite you all to see it. More human, less work. Unfortunately, we know little about our people. So, and there are a lot of potential. So we can unlock not only the organization potential through framework, methods, and technology, but believe it or not, there might be skills which are not yet tapped. So we might go, that's our role, so we might go into assessing further what are the strengths, how we can unlock people, understand more their capacity. Are they pioneers of change? Are they catalysts for change? Are they good communicator? They got the empathy, more of being pragmatic. So let's really take the time to analyze the strengths and address the threats of people, or where they fit, where do not fit, especially when it comes to critical stages. Take the overhead on the transmission and commission. And I've heard big companies who lead mega projects. I've heard some of their head of delivery saying, I used to rotate project managers because mentally speaking, they are really sometimes under pressure. So dealing with people, especially the machine, we do not think about the machine. So at least let's worry about our people, not only skill and upskill them, but really believe in what makes them really succeed in every single responsibility, especially with the pressure brought by mega projects.
Yeah, I love that project manager rotation. If we start introducing it in the key art construction world, I think it's going to be interesting to a certain extent. Listen, guys, I spoke with Grace about a couple of weeks ago, and I said I want to have you on a fireside chat and want to get together maybe on one-to-one kind of a conversation. We always meet at conferences, but we never had the opportunity to speak on one-to-one. She said, well, when is it? It's February 18th, and it happened that she is leading a couple of panels.
Today.
Today.
I think it's happening on 18th of March. I don't know what's...
So she's juggling between a panel, executive panel at the beginning of the Project Controls Expo, and I'm having her today, and she's rushing back to the same venue to sit on another panel. So with all of that, thank you so much, Grace. I enjoyed the conversation with you, so did everyone. So please give it up to Grace.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So do I have Ziad in the room? Yep. Yep. Want you here, buddy? Putting you on the spot, right? That's what I always do. Right, so maybe no better way of introducing what we're going to do today with a customer case study with Alec, the account manager, the man behind this account, to introduce his guest speaker. Interesting story, but I'm gonna leave it over to you, Ziad.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome everyone, and it's nice to see everyone after lunch, especially after lunch. So we have our guest speaker, Najjar. He represents ARIC, one of the major contracting companies in UAE and in the region as well. So we have ARIC as a customer, or we have ARIC as a customer probably since 2016, 2017. They are using our applications for their day-to-day activities. Okay. So they're using our products and applications for day-to-day activities. They use majority AConnects to run the project submissions, reviews, all the document reviews and submissions on their projects. So I think the intention here is to share the knowledge that they've generated over the years using the application. What they learned, can we do what they learned? Maybe there's something that we can improve on the application, and how they did it within their internal organization and their communication with their clients. So Najib, over to you, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Ziad. Thank you. Thank you, Ziad, and thanks for the introduction, and thanks for hosting me at this forum. Just to start with a brief introduction, my name is Najib Delang. I head the IT team at Alec Group. As Ziad mentioned, Alec is considered one of the top contractors here in the region. Prior to joining Alec, I've been working with Avanade as a software consultant, and then for the last 10 years, I've been working with Alec as serving multiple roles, but the majority of the years were heading the IT team. And I've led data-driven improvements and lots of digital transformation initiatives in the construction projects within the region, which is like UAE and KSA. Just to start a little bit about Alec, as I mentioned, it's one of the top contractors here in the region, and they set a bold vision 5 years ago that they want to be the leading construction group in the region. And this was for a certain reason, because they realized that there is a huge complexity surrounding the construction environment. So they wanted to mitigate any risks that would come from external factors. And for that, they did start implementing lots of innovative and digital solutions and embedding this as part of their culture. And for that purpose, they did want to transform the construction to be more efficient and sustainable in order to mitigate such risks. And within Alec, we as an IT